Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Grow Your Occupancy podcast. I'm Julie Podewitz, CEO and founder, and today I welcome Heather Freemont to the show. Welcome, Heather.
Good morning, Julie.
Thank you so much for joining. Heather Freemont is the Vice President of Marketing of Maplewood Senior Living. Heather, please tell us a little bit, instead of reading your bio, maybe you tell us a little bit about your background and a little bit about what you do to lead sales and marketing at Maplewood.
Sounds good. Thank you, Julie. Appreciate you having me this morning. Always happy to talk to you. Background wise, I'm one of the people that's been in senior living my whole career. So had the privilege of going to college for specifically for senior living and getting a degree in healthcare administration. Started off working in operations, first job as an executive director, and have also been very lucky and blessed to learn from some very smart people throughout my career on the sales and marketing side. So I've basically switched back and forth from operations to sales and marketing, love them all. I feel like my operations background has been very good to help accelerate, marketing and sales tactics, and also understand where operations and clinical is coming from. So at Maplewood Senior Living, I've been here for just about 7 years. Started off in operations at Maplewood and then was able to move into the marketing and then assume sales as well under my umbrella and merge those two areas together, which has been great. That's a little bit about me.
No, I love it. And how many communities do you have now?
We have 16 at Maplewood.
16, and you're based out of?
Our home office is out of Westport, Connecticut. We do have the Maplewood Senior Living brand and also Inspire Senior Living.
Great. Well, I admire you, Heather, and I love the fact, many things about you, but I love that you are a lifelong learner. I love that. And that you are such a contributor to our business and our industry. And I am very grateful for you to jump on today, because today is going to be an FAQ episode, frequently asked questions or frequently requested topics. And there's two that continually come up. And the first one is outreach. And of course, we can do many, many podcasts on outreach, but people are, I think outreach can be either like a love it or don't like it thing, or I don't have time for it, or it's the last priority because can't get out of the building and all kinds. And then because of COVID and the shutdown and all of that, I think we're really struggling. I think we've always struggled a bit in the space with outreach, and particularly now more so than ever. So I'm just going to open it up. And if you just give us some pearls of wisdom on outreach, either how to get started, how to continue, where to go, best practices.
Sounds good, Julie. Thank you. So I do love this subject. So I'm excited that was something that you had in mind for today. I'll tell you first off, anyone that's worked with me ever in the past, one of my big mottos on outreach is always small things make a big impact. The team often says exactly what you just did. We don't have time to get out. Many of them hold a dual role out there. So they're doing internal sales as well as external sales. And so obviously they've got competing priorities. So we've always focused on those small things, meaning even if you are able to make 2 face-to-face appointments for the week, or 4 for the month, or 6 for the month. And perhaps your executive director is able to make 2 or 4 per month. And maybe your memory care director is able to make 1 that's more related to what their background is. Now, all of a sudden you add those up, you've got, 10 small things. It's not taking over your week. It's not taking over your month. And you're making a big impact already, because you've now met with 10 people you wouldn't have had you not looked at it kind of in smaller, a smaller scale from a planning standpoint. So I always tell people, make an impact with these small changes. Make sure, to hold everyone on the team accountable for this. Make sure that your professional partners are a vast number of people and not just a small limited group. I think the second thing that I would say that I think has made us successful with our professional referrals over the past couple of years has been that we've really cast a much wider net than we did in the past. In the past, I feel like in senior living, especially on the post-acute care side, If you're working in the CCRC or AL, IL side of things, I think we always kind of looked at and focused on the same professionals over and over again, such as our skilled nursing facility partners. One of the things that we really have done, and I think it helps in the long run, is really not only making those small changes on the weekly and on the monthly, but also casting a larger net, looking at all the potential professional partners and saying, are there other areas of professionals that we can talk to? Should we be looking at the temples and churches in the community? How can we partner and collaborate with them? Should we also reach out to, some further away places that we haven't worked with before? Are there other, say, if you're working in the assisted living and memory care area, are there memory care communities right within your local community that you are perhaps targeting different parts of prospects out in the community? So you might have another assisted living and memory care that's a competitor, and they may be really focused on kind of lower level people with lower, levels of care needs, as well as maybe memory care needs that are lower level, but they don't handle the higher care needs. Are you able to partner with them and collaborate and say, listen, we will send referrals to you that are appropriate for your community. I really want to learn what that is. And then, would you be willing to give us a chance and send us a referral our way to someone that perhaps needs a higher care level that we're able to provide? So it's really casting a net, looking at all the potential professional referral opportunities out there. And how do I do actual beneficial one-on-one small appointments that are face-to-face? Highly encourage face-to-face, because I think we have too much of a habit of doing things via email and text and everything else. But now that we're able to get back out in the community, if you can get in front of people, whether it's through a lunch or just having a small meeting, and just really look at collaborations. Thirdly, I would say, go in with the attitude for your professional outreach appointments of, what can I do to help my professional partner here? What is it that they do? Understand where they're coming from. Ask the right questions. Do your discovery just like you would on a prospect. Ask them, what are they doing? What types of patients are they seeing? What do they do in the community to help? What are maybe some of the missing areas? And are you able to fill in any of those gaps? So really go in with, people will say win-win. I like to say, let's go in with, let's have them win. We'll win later. Once we go in with the attitude of how can we help our professional partners, if there's a GCM, geriatric case manager out in the community, and they say, I'm having difficulty, placing these types of people or helping these types of families because there's this particular need, or they come to me when they're confused and they just got a diagnosis. What is it that you can do to partner with them to get them, in front of maybe some of your professionals that work in your community that, could help assist with navigating a new diagnosis? Or, does your company have a guidebook or, a tip sheet or something that could help? And really look to see what you can do to make their professional, career better and helpful to people in the community. So I think, really going in with let them win first. If you build that relationship and you go in a selfless way, I've seen this time and time again, professionals come back to you, you build that trust and rapport, and they'll give you a chance and give you a family that they're working with and give you the opportunity to work with them and give you that referral. So I think those are kind of my three things that I say over and over again to our, team and to teams in the past. I think lastly, I'll say on that front is it's about communication. So if they give you a referral and they say, look, I have a family I'm working with, they're giving you their trust. They're giving you their reputation. They're giving you a chance to prove yourself. So in order to do that, one of the most important things I feel is that communication in return. How are you going to communicate with them? What are you going to give them? How are you going to let them know how it's going? It's extremely important if you want to have a second chance at a referral, or, to be able to use their name as maybe a reference for another referral source, or ask them for another professional partner that you could work with, that you build that trust through that communication. So once you've had that opportunity, if you want to continue to build the funnel of referrals, you've got to get back to them, let them know, it went very smoothly. The families toward the community, they're very interested. They're looking at a few places, and just stay in close contact. Obviously, you're not able to give private information, but the fact that they're working with the client means they care enough and they want to know, ultimately what's happened with that family. So I think, just following up and using clear communication with them is going to help build that relationship.
Fantastic tips. I like you. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go backward. I'm going to work backward. I would say communication. I always say no news is never good news in
Right.
sales, right? And
Right.
the communication and the communication, right? And follow up and updates. And when people don't hear from you, that's not a good thing. I think not sure if we don't know what to say. We think we're bothering people. It's silence. Just flip it. When you don't hear something from somebody else, do you think you either forget about them or you wonder, like, why are they not communicating? So I agree. Communication, working backward. What I like when you said, what can I do? So not a win-win, but a win for you. And,
Yes.
Heather, I think we lead with intention, all of us, and it comes out of us, like what our intention is even in life, right? So if you're a helper or you're a giver or you're a connector, you care about, you don't have to say, hi, I'm Heather, I care about people, or hi, I'm Heather, I like to learn. I know that about you because it's your intention and it's coming out of you naturally, right? So we read each other. And if our intention is, I need to get a referral today, or I'm having pressure from some, I'm under a lot of pressure right now and I need a sale, that's going to come out of us. And it's challenging sometimes to, at least for me, to shut that off, the pressure. I need that sale today, or I need this to close, or I need a referral, or I'm going to get, you got to shut that off, forget about that to connect. And because it truly is our intention, right? For that win. So I love that. Not a win-win, a win for you, right? A win for you. I love that. And then casting the wider net and who else? You've been doing this, I'm sure, probably as long as me, where it was like, find your 3 people, your 5 people that will give you referrals and your building stays full. And it doesn't work like that anymore. And then that face-to-face, as much as we can, I know that can be a challenge. And think narrow, so small, meaning you don't have to do 50 appointments.
Right.
I think that's overwhelming. Let's 20 people, go see 20 people this week. How about 2? So think, in doable chunks. So great advice. I love it.
Yeah. Make them impactful, make them small, make them impactful. Because you're right. Going back to like, who are your 3 people? I think when we look at our referral sources, we have seen from our wider net that we've cast a lot different referrals coming in every single month from all different categories that we would have never even, dreamed possible a couple of years ago. However, having said that, you are going to see, a top 5 or 10, depending on how long you've been really working hard on your outreach, of consistency, people that trust and believe in you. You have to continue those relationships.
Sure.
And you're right. You will see that consistently if you nurture those relationships and communicate.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And real quick, before we jump onto the second, a very, very highly requested topic, but when you say face-to-face, I agree with you. What about, I just can hear people thinking, people I can't get face-to-face. They don't want to see, they don't have time. The doors are shut. So how do you get face-to-face?
I think, it's consistency. I know, one of the things that we always talk to our folks that are focused on external is, it's going to take you sometimes 6, 8, 10 times of, first of all, just trying to get an appointment with someone face to face. You got to work around what their needs are and what their schedule is. And it might be, that they give you a 5-minute slot on Wednesdays, and so you have to be flexible and think, what would work for them? Would it be better that maybe they're coming to one of our upcoming events that we're having? Could I meet them 10 minutes before because I haven't been able to give them a tour before? Could I ask that they come early and I, sneak off with them for a few private minutes? But it's just kind of finding out like what would work for you. I know you're very busy. I want to honor your schedule. Just going in again with the win. I want to I want to hear for 5 or 10 minutes, what are your challenges with working with families, and understand where you're coming from so that I might be able to contribute something, to lessen that for you and help you help other families. And I think immediately when people hear that you're coming to hear more about them and what they do and their challenges, they're already going to let their guard down and say, you know what, I have time for you. And again, just letting them know, when does it work? I know your schedule is, robust with many things. If there's a time that it's a little slower, is it morning? Should we grab breakfast? Can I stop by early? Whatever it is at work, and being patient with it, consistent, polite, professional, being patient. Even though you're really only maybe doing small bits and trying to hit a few people a week or whatever you can do, whether that's a few a month, a few a week, whatever, you're going to be reaching out to several people at once. It's not just one or two to get those appointments. You're probably reaching out to 8 to 10 professionals so that you can ensure you have 1 to 2. And so whoever it works for in your top list, or, who you're going to make those appointments with, and then you just keep on the rest until you're able to get the appointment. And if for some reason, it absolutely cannot work in person, they can't come to any events that you have, you can't get in front of them, their hospital doesn't allow it, whatever it is, I would say to them, what is the best way for us to talk for 10 minutes? Would it be better for me to call you on a Zoom call or something? Because I don't want to make you uncomfortable. I want to do what works for you. And just ask them, is there any way that we can spend a few minutes and I can understand more of what you're doing and your challenges. And I think you'll, be much more likely to score that appointment and, be closer to getting more professional referrals.
In that intention, and I think it's flattering if someone really wants to get in front of you. And if like you said, don't give up after 2 tries. 5 minutes, ask for 5 minutes to get
right
for a win for them. And someone's really persevered, not every day, but really persevere that they really, really want this. You have a much higher chance, right? You try once and they say no.
One of my first bosses, when my first role in outreach, she said to me, I don't care if you have to go to that physician's office 100 times until he will see, and she wasn't kidding either, until he will see you. You get to know his office staff, you get to know how everything works, but you just keep going, even if it takes 100 times. And I went into that as a young person thinking, this is going to take me 100 times. I better get better at this. But it was true. And I was able to break through those by building, relationships, and then eventually see those physicians, even though it might have taken time. And then putting that effort and, into it, you learn very quickly, you're going to get that physician that says, you know what, I have referrals for you every week and I'm going to see you, and I love what you're doing with our families. Your reputation is great. I've seen what you can do, and they suddenly trust you. And now that, going in there 20 times or whatever makes sense when you've had your, 15th referral months later. So I'll never forget that. That was definitely a little scary entry into outreach.
Anything less than 100 times is like a win. But
we say the sales team, we're like, look, don't give up. You get that lead. It's going to take 8 to 10 times. They put their inquiry in. I know you think they're going to answer the phone, but they've moved on to the next thing. So you keep trying, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, our time is coming to an end, but I did want to get one last question in. Sure. And it's one that hopefully becomes more and more frequently asked, but I get asked more than you would think right now. And that's about wait list. About wait list management. Again, good problem to have, right? Yep. You're either fully occupied or a certain care type or apartment style, or you're pre-lease, right? And you've got that wait list too. So can you give us any tips on successful wait list management?
Sure. Luckily at Maplewood, we've been talking about this a lot. We've definitely gotten to a place where we've got communities at 100%. And so now we have new challenges and problems. Yay. So just a couple of things, since this is fresh in my mind. One of the things that we always try to do is, look at the communities, build out a proper wait list. We have a wait list built out right in our CRM that we customized. So I recommend having an official place to keep people. I recommend looking at an official process. What is it that they commit to be on the wait list? Try to be a little bit more vague with your wait listers. We definitely can get into a habit in senior living of, I have a wait list and these 5 people want a 1-bedroom east facing view with a larger closet. We definitely don't want to get in and lock ourselves into those very, very specific things. But definitely discuss what that's going to look like. I would say when you take someone on your wait list, you want to be clear. I suggest something substantial for a deposit. So sometimes I think we kind of undercut ourselves with that. And then we have people just throwing, $250 at us saying, I want to be on the wait list. Oftentimes what you find is that it's a way for them to say to their kids, I want to live at this property, but they don't have any apartments. They don't have any 1-bedroom east facing, so on and so forth. So I gave my $250. So I've got this taken care of. We want to make it substantial enough that they take it seriously. And that when they put their money down on the apartment, it means I actually want to live there. Make sure you're telling them what the process is. So when an apartment comes available, how long do they have to tell you? Whether or not they'll take the apartment, what happens if they don't? Do they stay in the same spot on the list? And just be clear on communication. And then lastly, how to maintain it, I think is, really important since you bring that up. We talk a ton about this, but having a strategic plan for your wait list, you can grow that quickly. We have some wait lists already with 10, 15, 20 people on them. And it's important, again, goes back to communication, Julie. Talking to them, what is your strategic plan with making sure they're integrated in your community prior to the time that it's time to move in? So are you inviting them to events? How are you communicating? Are you emailing? Are you calling, at least monthly? And what are all the touch points? And the same point, are you bringing them into the community to meet residents, to participate in things that are happening? Come to the dining. We have an event coming up for Mother's Day. We want to bring you and your daughters here and meet other residents. And so you really want to start integrating them into the community immediately, so they give you the deposit and then you treat them as almost a resident. The more you do that, the more they're going to get comfortable, and they're not going to pass up on that 1-bedroom west facing. They're going to say, you know what, I'm going to take this. And I think, just that frequency and that communication will make a big impact. And, look, I know everyone's looking to get to a wait list, but we're building it up every month. Stay on track. Again, small things every month, small, increases in occupancy matter. And hopefully, within the next year, all of senior living will have the same problem and be focused on their wait list. So it's getting to be exciting after a long, challenging period for all of us.
Oh man, I love seeing those posts. The
Yeah.
100, the balloons, the 100, the 90,
Yeah.
the 80, whatever milestones. It's
We're
just
celebrating everything in the industry, right?
gotta celebrate our wins. Heather Freemont, Vice President of Marketing of Maplewood Senior Living, a guru of our business and a wealth of information and knowledge. And I definitely want to pick your brain more, maybe later this year or into 2023. Thank you so much for joining. One last thing, advice or way that you burn off stress. What's a stress buster for you?
A stress buster for me. Well, it's the days that I get up in the morning and I jump on that treadmill or get out there and take that walk. Definitely for me is exercise, and then reading. Just kind of taking your mind off of everything and getting into a good book. I used to be one that only read nonfiction books almost my entire life until a few years ago. And then I realized the value in fiction and just kind of living in someone else's happy place for a while or whatever it is. And so I definitely have leaned on books starting. It's one of the gifts from the pandemic for me, giving myself another hobby. So
awesome.
Yeah.
What's one I should read? What's a must read?
Oh my.
I love reading. I love fiction, nonfiction, biography, Audible. I listen to books.
Okay.
Books.
So you're putting me here trying to think of a title of something. I have the book in mind, but not the title offhand. So I'm going to follow up with you on that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Lisa Wingate's the author. I just have to think of what the title is.
Wingate. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to look her up. I love one for you if we're listening. I don't know if you do Audible.
I do.
I loved David Grohl's kind of autobiography anthology recently of Foo Fighters. Love Dave. I mean, it was
Yeah.
incredible. So
Huh.
always, I agree with you. I think sometimes we just need to, I love learning, but sometimes we just need to find out what's going on in someone else's world just for fun too. So
Yep.
Heather, thank you again. Thanks everyone. And we
Thanks,
will,
Julie. Always
yep,
fun talking to you. Have a great day.
thanks. Likewise.